Apparently, Joe Rogan has the most popular podcast on Spotify, and he's...
It began with a sentence. A throwaway remark on live television. A jab at Joe Rogan, nestled comfortably among the usual scattershot commentary that defines The View. Sonny Hostin, no stranger to controversy, lobbed a claim that seemed more mocking than malicious, suggesting that Joe Rogan, America's most polarizing podcast titan, believed in dragons. She said it with that smug delivery so endemic to daytime punditry. And she said it on national TV. That, as it turns out, was a spectacular mistake. Joe Rogan, known for his blisteringly candid takes and refusal to walk anything back, didn't just hear the comment. He made sure the entire legal system did too. The result? A $100 million defamation lawsuit that now threatens not only to bankrupt Hostin, but to unravel The View itself. But this isn't just a legal drama, it's a public spectacle. A culture war cage match with the most unlikely of contenders. A podcasting juggernaut versus a daytime TV institution. And if there was ever any doubt about who holds the real power in media today, that question has been answered in thunderous clarity.
Repeatedly spread COVID misinformation and invited guests on to do the same.
It all started when The View, not exactly known for intellectual nuance, decided to target Rogan for what they characterized as misinformation. Sonny Hostin, pushing the bounds of daytime satire into actionable defamation, ridiculed Rogan for supposedly believing in dragons, basing her claim on an out-of-context podcast snippet involving a wildlife biologist and extinct megafauna. 2. Rogan, this wasn't just a laughable misquote, it was reputational sabotage. And he didn't respond with a quippy tweet or a guest appearance on another show. He responded with a legal missile, filed with precision and powered by rage. From his familiar studio, Rogan didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He dissected The View's attack with surgical eloquence, turning his podcast into a courtroom where millions served as the jury. While The View dissolved into frantic damage control, Rogan leaned into the mic and burned down. Their credibility one dismissive sentence at a time. They brought in the lowest tier.
Contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some...
The lowest of the double X's, he said, referencing the cast of The View with all the subtlety of a Molotov cocktail. The commentary wasn't just cutting, it was cathartic for millions. For every viewer who had ever rolled their eyes at The View's often sanctimonious lectures, Rogan's response felt like retribution. And the takedown wasn't just verbal. His legal team, acting like a UFC-trained army of attorneys, laid out a devastating case for defamation. The claim? That Hostin and The View's remarks were not simply opinions, they were damaging lies, broadcast under the guise of legitimate commentary and delivered with enough certainty to warrant serious legal consequences. While Rogan's audience is a global digital cathedral with 11 million weekly listeners, The View's clout has long rested on an aging format and a loyal but limited viewership. The disparity became glaring the moment Rogan responded. He didn't just rebut, he dismantled, mocked, exposed. And with every podcast episode following, the lawsuit.
When you're worried about losing your job and you're worried about podcasts taking over and who's the source of news and we said Donald Trump is Hitler, but half the...
He added more fuel to the blaze. Reddit threads erupted. Twitter trended with "I'm Dragon Believer" memes. YouTube creators pumped out commentary breakdowns faster than The View could form a rebuttal. The silence from Hostin and her co-hosts was deafening. Not a single word from the panel. Not even the usual legal disclaimer thinly disguised as moral indignation. And that, Rogan knew, was victory in itself. The legal filings made it plain. The remarks from Hostin damaged Rogan's brand. In a media landscape where perception equals currency, that wasn't a minor offense. It was a multi-million-dollar wound. Rogan, whose podcast has outperformed most cable networks, operates at a level where every brand deal, every listener metric, every headline counts. The View, by contrast, still plays by the rules of 2006, where a snarky remark and a commercial break could wash away accountability. Not anymore. Rogan took the attack, reframed it, and threw it back with twice the force. He reminded his audience, and...
The country disagreed with us and he won and this is fucking great. And Joe Rogan believes in dragons! It's just frantic. It's foolish.
Perhaps The View's as well. Why legacy media is losing ground. They don't speak for all women, he said. They don't even speak for all liberals. They speak for themselves and their own dwindling relevance. As his podcast clips circulated like wildfire, The View's studio felt eerily quiet. Hostin, known for her fiery retorts, had disappeared from the discourse, reportedly gagged, figuratively, if not legally, by ABC's risk-averse legal department. Rogan, meanwhile, laughed his way through more podcast episodes, cracking jokes about believing in dragons and changing his X, formerly Twitter bio, to Dragon Believer. Every joke, every reposted clip, every fan-made meme deepened the blow. Rogan had turned an insult into a brand. He didn't just absorb the smear, he monetized it. But this isn't merely about a joke or a lawsuit. It's about dominance. In the battle of new media versus old media, this was the line in the sand. Rogan represents a future that doesn't apologize, for offense that thrives in nuance, and that knows exactly what it is. The View, meanwhile, continues pretending it represents middle America.
Before that, where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles. And then there's also, listen,
it doesn't make sense to me.
While hemorrhaging cultural clout one awkward monologue at a time. The real irony? The View claims to be the voice of the informed, the reasonable, the vetted. We're backed by ABC News, Hostin said on air. We're double-checked, apparently, just not fact-checked. Rogan, with nothing but a mic, and a brain running on elk meat and mushroom tea proved otherwise. And the lawsuit isn't just symbolic. Defamation cases at this level are rare, but they're not frivolous. Rogan's legal team presented a legitimate case that Hostin's remarks could be interpreted not as parody but as public defamation, especially considering Rogan's business partnerships and global reach. This wasn't satire, it was slander, and it came with a 9-figure price tag. What does The View do now? They've already lost the PR battle. Their silence speaks volumes, and every moment they don't respond, Rogan's narrative becomes more solidified. Hostin has become a meme.
Basically, to this guy, Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons? He believes in...
The show has become a cautionary tale. And the viewers? They've picked their side. Rogan's supporters have rallied not just in defense, but in celebration. They've turned this lawsuit into a symbol of pushback against corporate media arrogance, a rallying cry for those tired of being lectured by hosts who mistake tone for substance. Even the tone of The View shifted. Their episodes following the lawsuit lacked their usual vigor, as if every host suddenly remembered there's a difference between being provocative and being sued. No dramatic tear-filled apology aired, no righteous indignation, just cold, empty space where outrage used to live. That's what makes this moment so definitive. Rogan didn't just call them out. He turned their tactic against them and left, them scrambling for footing on a stage they once controlled.
Joey Baker, again, these people have dementia. These are people who, should not be allowed out of the house. They have a...
Legacy media underestimated the cultural weight Rogan carries. His podcast isn't a niche anymore. It's a primary source. People trust him, not because he's always right, but because he's always honest. That honesty, even when messy, trumps manufactured outrage nearly every time. And now, The View finds itself in uncharted territory. A daytime giant, suddenly irrelevant, caught in the crosshairs of someone who knows exactly how to weaponize influence without ever stepping on their set.